All right. Welcome into the room, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. If you would please, I want to see you type in the chat your name and your organization. Your name and your organization. Let's type that into the chat. It is awesome to be here on this platform with you today and to talk about the 5 C's of success. This is an exciting time, for us to dive into what does success look like to us as DBEs, as small business, and really how can we implement that within our strategies. And so I'm going to give it a little second for you all to come on in, and then I want you to put your name and your organization in the chat. Awesome. I love it. I want to be as interactive as possible. If you guys are familiar with the DOPE personality test, I am a peacock to the fullest. And I want to show all of my feathers. I think I want to do that today. And so I want you guys to interact with me, talk back to me, let me know that you're in the room. And if you have any questions, please feel free again to use that chat box so that we can answer. So if you do not already know, my name is LeAndrea Holliday, and I am a DBE specialist that's serving under the Georgia Department of Transportation's Major Mobility Investment Program. Within this role, my focus ultimately is to engage, empower, and educate small businesses on best practices, resources, and tools that will not only get them into the room, but will position them to be the champion in the room. Okay, so that's what I do. That's what I focus on. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my colleagues that helped make this happen as well. Emmanuel Amertho, who is the DBE director, Nikita Hurt, DBE manager, Kiana McCoy, DBE supervisor, Natasha Hooper, DBE specialist, and Jessica Stewart, DBE specialist. So I have to acknowledge them because it takes a team, right, to do everything that we're doing. And so again, while we're getting started, it's awesome to see you guys in the chat room. Thank you so much for being here. Without further ado, let's jump into why we're here, the 5 C's of success. So during this presentation or this time together, I want us to focus in on the elements of connecting, communicating, cultivating, collaborating, and creating as a small business. These are all major components. And as you build your business internally and externally, these matter. We have to focus on here. We have to pay attention to these areas. As we navigate through each of them, I want you to ask the question to yourself and think about this and jot them down if you have a pen and paper with you. And ask yourself, how can I further implement this in my business? Ask yourself questions like, what does connecting internally and externally look like for me as a business owner? And how will that impact my business overall? Yes, it's important for us to get clients, but it's also important for us to connect, communicate, cultivate, collaborate, and create within our organization, right? That's how we create culture. And so I want us to focus in on that and let this kind of be somewhat of a workshop. So get your notepad, get your pen, and write down things as we're going through it. If you have an idea, jot it down and feel free again to share within the chat if there's anything that's kind of sparked something that you're like, this is worthy of mentioning. So when we look at connect, we know that this is to become joined or to have or establish rapport. And you want to ask the question, actually, I want to ask you this question and put it in the chat for me. When do you think is the right time to build relationships? I'm going to pause for just a moment. When do you think is the right time to build relationships? Do you think we should wait to a certain moment to build them? Jessica said every time is the right time. Should we wait to build relationships? What are you guys thinking? Again, I want us to be super interactive. When do you think is the right time to build relationships? All the time. So we have every time and all the time, which I love. It's easy for us to kind of get stuck in the program of things or timing of things to where we're like, you know what? I have to wait. Ricky White said yesterday. Correct. I agree, Ricky. It's easy for us to be like, okay, let me be strategic about when I should start. And really, that's not where the strategy should be. The strategy should be who I'm going to start it with and where should I be to get the right relationships. But the when, it's all the time. It's yesterday, all the time. All the time is the right time to build relationships. So when we look at connect, one of the most powerful things that always resonate with me is that we is greater than me. Anything that I could do by myself is not greater than what I could do connected to the right people. When I connect to the right people, I strengthen my inside of knowledge and I expand my reach, which is going to birth me access into the right rooms. It's one thing, absolutely not, no waiting. Right, Miss King, no waiting. It's going to birth me into the right rooms, right? I have my working knowledge of how I think things should go and how my business should be ran and what I think I should do. But it's not until I get connected to the right person where they're like, you know what, LeAndrea, let me expand your knowledge a little bit. Let me show you another way of doing things, especially when we're living in the climate of pivoting, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But especially when we're living in this climate where you can't get comfortable in one way of doing something, right? It has to be relevant to what's happening in the industry. So not only do you want to build relationships with a potential firm or a client, but you want to have those peer-to-peer relationships too. Who's walking this same route with you? Who's experiencing the same things? Let's talk this out. Let's collaborate together. There's a value in co-building, in co-hosting, in teaming and partnering. When I do that, I maximize the opportunities that are available, right? And so what does that look like? What does connecting look like when you're implementing it? Attend networking events and be active. You don't want to just attend and not talk to anybody, right? You want to attend and be active in the room, especially in the digital space, right? Get in the chat, just like we're doing right here. You're in the chat and you're asking questions, you're talking, you're making a point, you're being active. Also, when you're going to these events, understand, ask yourself, what's my why? Why am I attending? What is the outcome that I hope to gain? When I know that, then I have a laser focused point of view that when I leave this place, I want to have accomplished A, B, and C. And you know what? If some additional things are jumped in there, then hey, that was a bonus, right? So you want to have a goal. Another action here is to connect with people that don't look like you. You want to have diverse partners, right? You want people that have different backgrounds that can really give you a holistic point of view as to, how to better connect, how to run business, what does partnering look like? So you can have some diversity there. And then when you connect, you want to participate in strategic follow-up. You don't want to just make the connection, shake the hand, and then walk away and not form the relationship. No, how am I going to be strategic in making sure that the seed that was planted in this connection grows? So that may look like a marketing follow-up plan where you have a call campaign, email marketing, or you're staying up to date with their current events so that you can pop in their inbox. Congratulations, I saw this. Or, hey, I see that you have just recently published this. Tell me a little bit more about it. Let's connect on a greater level. The next thing that you want to look at is communication. Communication is everything. And I repeat, communication is everything. It's extremely important. After you connect, you want to communicate in order to, again, establish that relationship, allow that connection to flourish. You want it to be clear and concise, right? So you want to convey the knowledge or information about, make known. So let's look at communication. One thing that I valuable and very, very much so noteworthy is that you equal the brand. You equal the brand. What you say, how you present your business communicates your strengths and your willingness to others. What are you saying? How are you putting your best foot forward? How are you showing yourself that you are familiar or have an awareness about where you're trying to go? Right? You want to represent the brand well, communicate the brand and how you are presenting yourself in these meetings and these conversations. Another thing is speak the language of your audience. If I don't say something that is going to be appealing to the ear, then I'm not going to be effectively communicating, right? So I'm not necessarily a numbers girl per se, but you have to give me the details of a story, make me feel like I was in the room, invite me into the narrative of what it is that you're trying to convey. That's what's going to be really appealing to me. But if you came and if you just told me a lot of numbers, gave me a lot of different diagrams and different things like that, that will work, but it won't necessarily be super appealing because you're not speaking my language, right? And so if I want to appeal to my audience, I got to ask the question, what are they interested in? How can I grab their attention? What does that look like to me? And then I have to listen to understand, not necessarily just listen to show that, hey, I've done my homework and I have a response ready for you. This is not the time to automate responses, right? But this is a moment where we listen, gain clarity. Let me understand what it is that you're looking for. And that way, when I do that, I can position my business as the solution for my target audience. I want to know, what are your pain points? Where are the gaps so that I can position myself to close them for you? So what does this look like? Solidify your pitch. Know what you're going to say about yourself, right? Know what are your points? What are your takeaways when you're having these conversations with potential clients or even peers? What are your takeaways? What do you want them to know about you? How can I break this down into something that's digestible for them to understand quickly, right? I need to solidify that pitch. And then again, I want to implement a strategy for communication. Again, what's the why to the connection? And then what's the best method as I'm connecting? If I know that they are not necessarily an email person, then I need to have a one-on-one with them regularly. I'm going to have my paper trail. I'm going to send you emails, but I want to have a one-on-one with you because I know that that's the best way to engage with you. If I know that they are quick bottom line a type of person, they just want the bottom line concrete details, then I won't take you on a full story. I'm going to give you just that, the bottom line. So how should I communicate? What's the best approach? And again, do your homework on your target audience. Ask the right questions, anticipate their response so I can get ahead of them having to figure out what they need to ask me next. Now, I want to answer all of your questions while I have this opportunity. That way, the next question that I should ask is, what does our follow-up? When can we meet next? How can I better serve? We want to ask the right questions to get us into the door. The next one is cultivate. To foster growth, to seek the society of, identify influential people to cultivate as friends or partners. So once you make that connection and communication has taken place, cultivation is next. You want to nurture what you've already done. You don't want seeds to just be seeds. No, ultimately, I want the seed to grow and sprout into something, right? And so what does that look like? I have to be consistent. As a business owner, I want to be consistent in my approach to them. When I connect with them, when I'm communicating with them, I want to make sure that I bring my deliverables that I said that I would do, right? And I want to make sure that I'm always staying in their inbox. And some people may feel like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be too, I don't want to be in their face too much, but why not? Consistency matters. I remember I was a part of a webinar and the speaker mentioned that, it takes about 8 to 12 touch points to even get a maybe. So I have to be willing to go the distance. Don't worry about if you're feeling a little, weird to them, but you want to make sure that you're staying in their face. Yeah, staying in their face. I love that, Heather. Look at them as partners and friends, right? Right. More than just business contacts. I love that. So so consistency matters. And then another one is recognize the climate of the opportunity. If this is a season for them where, hey, we're not taking a lot of partnerships right now, but maybe in the future, I understand that. Let me just show myself as available for whatever you need. And I want to check in with you. I want to just say hello. I noticed that, hey, some people on LinkedIn, they share things about their kids or just different things like that. I noticed that you posted something. I want to comment about that. Maybe you send a comment that's not even work related. so that they could see that I care more about just becoming, to Heather's point, a business contact to you. I want to establish myself as a friend, as a partner, someone that you can trust. That's how cultivation happens. And when that happens, you're staying honest and you're remaining transparent, because it's not about just getting the contract for me, right? So what's it for you? What's the why for you? And then you want to build on that. So what does that look like? How does that implementation look like? You want to engage in that relationship building. Again, I want to comment and have conversations more about less about the paperwork and more about life. How did you handle this when you were growing and climbing the ladder? What did this look like for you? What advice could you give? Show them that you care more about them as a person, right? And identify innovative ways to have the competitive advantage. That matters. Absolutely. When you're cultivating, you want to see, you know what, how can I position myself and how can I expand my differentiators, right? Another thing when it comes to cultivation is participate in small business community mentorships, trainings, and etc. There's so much out here, right? And so I know with the Georgia DOT supportive services, there's a lot of training that can help you to be cultivated as a business owner, as a business, right? And that can help you form those partnerships and relationships. So you want to get involved in that, and also look at chambers. Look at all of these different things that are available to you. And then another thing that is very key is develop a network ecosystem. Who are your stakeholders? Who are your partners? Who are those key players? Identify them, and then you're going to build. When we identify them, we can collaborate. I can work with them. We can be joined together. And a lot of awesome things happen when we collaborate. The seeds begin to sprout. They begin to grow. Collaboration enhances productivity. It increases your clientele due to the exposure, and it expands possibilities. Again, we is greater than me. When I collaborate, I'm supporting that we factor, right? So after I identify those key players, how can we collaborate together? How can we maximize opportunity? How can we enhance productivity? How can we reach our target audience? How can we accomplish our goals? How can we partner on business pursuits? Maybe this business pursuit is calling for A plus B, and all you have is A. But there's somebody out there that can work together, that you can work together with, that can give you that A plus B formula for that business pursuit. So that's something to think about. Another way of doing this is to participate or sponsor an industry professional events. If there's an organization whose values align with yours, go beyond than being an attendee at the conference or an attendee at the event and see, you know what? I noticed that we have some similar values. This is what I do. This is why I do it. And I want to see if I can, at any way, position myself or help you accomplish and expand your reach in this area. What can I do to lend a helping hand? What can I do to co-sponsor? What can I do to participate? What knowledge would you mind me bringing? What can I do? What can I offer to you in this space, right? And so you want to collaborate. The last thing is create, to make or bring into existence something new. You all, I feel like we are in such a beautiful moment of creation and creativity, right? There's so much that we could do. And again, that we are in this time of pivoting, and we have the Justice 40, and we have the infrastructure bill that is coming, and all of these are invitations, or that's here. All of these are invitations to pivot. Because I want to not only understand that these things are coming, but I want to put myself into position, right? So where I can be a part of what's happening in the industry. How can I expand into other markets? How can I grow? How can I add new services? So we're looking at horizontal and vertical growth. What does that look like to me as a business? What can I do there, right? And so this invites forward thinking. Really becoming solution oriented as we see these things occurring. What does that look like for me as a business owner? How can I produce the ability to pivot? How can I set my firm apart? How can I stay in position, right? That would allow me to be adaptable to the current and the climate that I'm in. What does that look like? Maybe you're inviting people with different perspectives and backgrounds to the table. Let's have a roundtable event, right? Of how we can achieve, of how we can accomplish this, of how we can grow in these areas. Let's have a roundtable event. I love it when we get to bring our stakeholders, because it's not relying on our strength alone, but it's relying on the strength of an industry or a community that can help us navigate and pivot together. Another way that you can do this, another way that you can support creativity is empowering your employees. Empower your employees, give them tools that they need, allow them to go to trainings, whatever that looks like. You want to empower them. Or maybe you're saying, but it's just me right now, I don't have a whole lot of employees. Well, empower yourself as the employee and as the business owner. What trainings can you go to? What relationships can you build? What can establish you as a forward-thinking, solution-oriented boss, right? Owner, entrepreneur. And then when you're doing these things, you're establishing a culture that, again, invites creativity into the room. I understand that we did a great job doing it this way, but I also understand the power of pivoting. I also understand the climate change when things are occurring, when new bills are being introduced. How can I stay adaptable? And then again, when I do that, I am securing my position and my posture as a champion, or even a pioneer who is establishing new trends. We know that there's a lot of things that are trending in this time, and they trend, but we have to understand that things that are trending, they end up leaving, right? But how can we take what's trending and securely implement it into the core of who we are so that we can then pioneer it and become a champion? And maybe that also looks like revamping your differentiators, especially in this digital climate. A lot of people have expanded into different areas that you may was the differentiator. That was probably a differentiator for you. That probably sets you apart. And so now you're thinking, okay, well, now what does this look like for me now? How can I further expand? How can I further introduce? How can I further provide for the industry? What does that look like? What makes you different now? And so we have to understand these things, right? And we have to continue to position ourselves to be an asset, to be solution oriented, to be a provider, to be a champion, and to be successful in this industry as a business owner. So let's dig deeper. We have about 6 minutes or so. What questions do you have? Do you have any questions? If so, put it in the chat for me. I have some of my colleagues on here now, and they are ready and willing to answer any questions that you have, as well as am I. So let me know what you're thinking. What questions do you have? And if we don't have any, then I take it that hopefully that I answered a good bit. Awesome. And I want you all to connect with us on our newsletter. If you're already subscribed to our newsletter, thank you so much. If you're not, I want you to scan this QR code and go ahead and subscribe right now. Okay. I currently don't see any questions. Awesome. What C am I focusing on right now? The C that I'm focusing on right now is creating. I am definitely a creative. I love innovation. And so this is like I said, this is the perfect time for us to do so and implement new strategies and new ways of doing things. And so creating is definitely my focus, creating and collaborating. creating and collaborating. So again, with that being said, I invite you all to collaborate with me, to collaborate with our office. Let's collaborate. Let's get in connection. We love doing one-on-ones. Awesome. Awesome. We love doing one-on-ones. You all you have to do is reach out to us. That email listed here, DBE MMIP at dotg.ga.gov. I promise you someone is checking that email. Just shoot us an email. Let us know that you're interested in having a one-on-one, and we are going to make sure that we get that done for you, that we get that, that we get connected to you. All right. Scan the QR code and subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you all so much for being here today. I appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do in this industry. Continue to go, continue to create, continue to be adaptable to the climate. And I look forward to seeing what everyone is going to do. That concludes our presentation today. Thank you all. I'll stay here just in case anyone has any questions. I'll stay right here. Also, too, thank you, Kiana, for putting that in the chat. We do have an exhibitor booth. Please stop by the booth. We will have different representatives within that booth. So if you guys want to connect with us during the event, of course, please stop by our booth. And we are happy to jump in there and have a one-on-one with you. So we are available all day within the exhibitor booth. Awesome. While we are also still here, you missed the first two C's. Let me see. I'm going to go back for you so you can get the full experience. So the first one is connect. Thank you, Kiana. The first one is connect. The second one is communicate. While we're still here, for the last 2 minutes, really quickly, we do have some upcoming events that are happening. So please get in touch with us so that we can send you that information. We'll give you more in depth about our program and what we do as an office. Please stay connected to us. Again, that QR code with the DBE Edge newsletter, it goes out monthly at the end of the month, every month. And that's going to have all of our events, all of our upcoming events that are going to be occurring. And we want you guys to get involved. And again, remember, as we're in this virtual space, your involvement looks like not just signing in, but being active in the chat, right? So we can develop that relationship with you. And definitely we want you guys to make your mark here within our industry events. And we're going to be doing some we're going to be doing some live events soon. So please stay connected. It's going to be good to see your faces in person. So let's stay connected for sure. All righty. Thank you guys again for joining us today. I look forward to connecting and having some one-on-ones with you. And I will see you next time. Thank you all. Have a good one.